Hi guys, and welcome to Airability, a regular dose of lead therapy. And today I'm gonna, this is my second in my series of videos about the Chiappa FAS-611 and my journey to making it a budget bench rest contender. And today we're going to see if harmonic barrel tuning will help with the accuracy. And the Chiappa today is joined by the Eagle Vision harmonic barrel tuner. Now I've had this little gem quite a while now, and I haven't used it because my two anshuts are set up so well. They are like creamy good, and I love them to bits, and I'm a bit kind of superstitious and don't want to mess with them because they served me so well last season. So the great thing about loaning a rifle like this is you get to try the things you probably wouldn't usually. And over Christmas I had the time to do the initial testing of this rifle to prove it was worth further investigation to see how we can squeak every last bit of accuracy out of it. Now, why don't we? I have got loads of stuff piled up on the desk here to show you, and I can guarantee I'm going to drop something today. So I'm sorry if it all goes a bit belly up at some point. So I'll start with, just first of all, the Eagle Vision comes in a really cool, semi-rigid case, with all the bits and bobs to go with the harmonic barrel tuner. So when you get it, it's really well presented. And just before I start, what is harmonic barrel tuning? Well, I think the best thing to refer it to in this video is plain magic. There are videos that describe and explain the science behind harmonic barrel tuning on YouTube. I've actually put a link to one in the description of this video. But in essence, when you fire your pellet down the barrel resonates, right? And by putting a weight at the end of the barrel and moving where that weight is microscopically, you can influence the resonance of the barrel to make the pellet release more accurately. That is the essence behind it, right? So yeah, it's pretty much magic. So I'll take you through what this is, how I've used it, and with a bit of luck, there might be some information there that's useful for you. What I will say is, yesterday I set up a camera here, a camera downrange, and I shot a live target with the harmonic barrel tuner fitted. And if anybody wants to laugh, at the end of this video, and the timestamp is, you can have a look and see how much pressure of two cameras deteriorated my accuracy or not. But there's a good 10-15 minutes at the end of this video of me shooting a card live and going through all my thoughts about the tuner, the gun, etc. Let's call it bonus content for those of you who are interested. Right then, so this unit here, it has a 1/2-inch UNF, and it screws straight onto the end of your barrel, just like a silencer would. And then the whole silver bit, and this comes in black as well, rotates around a threaded shaft up the middle, the black bit here. And as you turn it, it goes up, up and down the black bit, microscopically adjusting the resonance in the barrel. Now on the side here, there are increments. And what I will say is I tested an FX barrel tuner about a year ago, and this, for about, I think it's about £10 more, is made substantially better, and it's got way more options. And first of all, the good thing with this is the increments are actually numbered on here, so you know where you're at. So there are increments going around the barrel, so when you turn it against the scales on the side of the main core, you can see where you're at. And also the main core, as the barrel moves up and down the main core, has increments on it as well. So you can really see where you're at, and you can write down where you're at. And that becomes really important later when you're setting up. What I will say is, when I set up, I shot about 400 pellets, and I've kind of got a couple of cards here that condense the process for you, but it takes a lot of time. And I do think if you're doing one of these on a rimfire, it's going to get expensive doing, setting up a barrel tuner. So we've got the barrel tuner like this, the bare unit, right? Screws on the end. You can use it like that, absolutely fine, right? But in the box are air strippers, right, which are also threaded at this end for a silencer, which is a fantastic idea. So these are caliber specific, becoming 177, 22, 25 and .30 if you've got one of those big boy air rifles. So what you do is you screw the adapter into the end of your barrel tuner, and yeah, it's always going to be harder when it's live, isn't it? Right? And in the kit here, you have little rods that you can feed through the end, 2 little holes in either side of the thread there to give it a little nip, right? They come in handy, yeah? And then you just fit your silencer to the end of your barrel tuner like that. So what I will say is I've only tested this with the silencer on because I shoot in my home range, and it's in an urban setting, and I don't know annoy the neighbours because they are very nice people. So anyway, so I've been testing it with the silencer. So let's just, the weight of this. The unit is about 160 grams, the barrel tuner itself. And when I've got the silencer on, and I call this a mid-size silencer, it's about 260, 270 grams with this on. So that's quite a bit on the end of your barrel. So you need to think about that as well. Now, just want to say that, you know, these air stripper silencer adapters, you know, come in those 4 sizes. Also in the box is a spare set of seals. And what do you need seals for? Well, the seals are what provide the resistance on the turning mechanism here. There's rubber seals between the outer rotating part and the inner core, which gives you resistance. So at some time, you know, they're going to need replacing. And there's a full set in the kit for you. There's an Allen key as well to help you with things, with setting up the, taking the seals out, etc. And of course those rods for tightening up the silencer adapters and stuff. So, you know, you get a full comprehensive kit with this barrel tuner that pretty much you didn't with the FX. You just got the unit. And what I will say is the machining on this, there's been no need for this to be covered up with you know, black spray paint. This engineering is crisp, and it's very well finished. So how do we go about setting this up? Well, I put it on the end of the barrel, and what you do is you put the wind the outer core all the way to one end, and then you wind it back in increments, and you kind of find out where the sweet spot is for your gun. What I will say is any sweet spot you find will change with whatever pellet you use and whatever pellet speed that you you know, choose to shoot at. So once you find a sweet spot, you're locked into that current setup. So how I do it is I shoot 2 pellets 5 times, and then I move the barrel tuner. Now, first of all, I do it in 5 increments on the outside of the ring. There's like 25 increments going all the way around the outside of the barrel tuner, and I will move it 5 each time and shoot a line. I shoot 2 shots to see if the shots are getting closer or wider apart, and I keep repeating this and repeating this through the whole travel of the unit. Right, this is only one part of the process, but you will find that once you start getting out your perspex target gauge here and start measuring the holes that you're making, it does become clear that where the outer core is on the barrel tuner and how you're rotating it does affect the group sizes. Right? Remember, we're just putting the finesse on your rifle. This is not going to make a bad rifle into a good rifle. It's just going to make very good very, very good if it works. So there you go. So first of all, I started quite gross movements, and these were 5 at a time on the outer ring. Then I found kind of like the sweet spot, which on one of the full rotations was between about 20 and 18 was the sweet spot. So then I further investigated, and I did, this is a sample of what I'd done. I actually shot this again to try and replicate the results, because I probably got these results over about 100 pellets or so. So then I realised that 19.5 came out on top, and that was the setting I decided to use. So it was about halfway down the full range of the barrel tuner, and on one of the rotations it was 19.5. And as you can see here, I completely chopped the first shot, but we have 4 fantastic single hole, as tight as you can get, double pellet shots there. So that was the sweet spot, and it took me, I'll be honest with you, pretty much a full tin of pellets to find that sweet spot. Now, what did I get when I shot the target once I got the sweet spot? Well, the highest I've managed to attain with it so far is 250 14x. Now, I would say it's slightly marginally worse than without with this rifle. So the most I've got is a 250 19x on my home range with this rifle. But the kind of comfortable score I can get with this rifle is about 215, 216x with this rifle. So I would say there's probably more to come from that barrel tuner, and I need to learn how to use it more. But nevertheless, it's very close to the best accuracy I managed to get out of this rifle. So what I would say is it takes a lot of setting up. Now, there was one caveat to this, which there was one thing that really made me go, about this barrel tuner, is I was quite happy with it, and I'd set it up and I'd put it away in my cupboard overnight, and I got the gun out to do the, the live shoot. And I set up my cameras and I set everything up, and I started, and the temperature was way different that day. It was freezing cold. And the barrel tuner was way out. And the groups had spread again, but I hadn't touched anything overnight. I'd been very careful, so I was wondering whether the temperature or the pellets were running at a different speed because of the temperature or something. But I had to actually tweak the barrel tuner on the day. And for me, that's no good. I need a known quantity. When I get it out the gun case at a competition, I need to know it's going to shoot right. I don't need the doubt in my head that I have to tweak things. So, my final, wrap up with this is, I think this particular rifle, it didn't bring any more accuracy out in it with the limited time I spent on it, round about 400 pellets. A full tin of Barracuda FT. It didn't make things worse. I enjoyed the process, learning about how the harmonic barrel tuner in the different settings adjusted the shape and size of the groups. That was very interesting. So there definitely was an effect there. Will I be using it in the future? No. Pretty much. I think what I will do is, though, I am going to keep it in case I get a rifle in the future that it does actually enhance. But I think for me, I need measurable marginal gains. And on this gun, there weren't any. And I'm not going to try it on my Annies because they're set up pretty much perfect. I hope that was useful, guys. And if you want to stay till just after the credits, remember, there's that bonus material. That's me shooting a card with the barrel tuner. And can I beat 250 14x? That is the question. That was the best one I shot with the barrel tuner. Until next time, guys, whatever it is, get out there and live that airgun dream, and take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for you guys who stayed after the end credits. I'm going to try and do a live shoot now, but just to put some context on what I'm doing, I'm shooting in the shed, and I'm shooting just under 25 metres, half of which is through the shed so there's no wind, and the other half is down the side of the house. So it's very shielded conditions. These conditions are far more favourable than those you would usually get on a range in a competition. So although it's a good measure of what a rifle can do, it's not necessarily a good measure of what scores you would get in competition. So anyway, I'm here. I've got the Chiappa FAS-611. It's on my seb rest. Like I've told you how and where I'm shooting. I'm using Barracuda FTs. They have not been sized, weighed in any way. All I'm doing is lubricating them on my pad before they go into the gun, so they exactly as they are, apart from lubrication, exactly what they came out the tin. All I will say is I'm going to try and match the noise of the gun going off with the sound of the pellet hitting the target, and see if we can do a split screen and you know, try and make it a bit more exciting for you. I've already done some sighting shots. Other than that, the gun, I set all the barrel tuner and everything up yesterday. I've come out today. It's about 4 or 5 degrees colder today. It's really cold, but I've got the heating on in the shed, and we're just going to give it a go and see what happens. So I might have to speed this up because it might even be a bit boring for the die-hard shooters amongst you as well. But we'll see how it goes. And I'm now going to do a couple of sighters and then go on to the 25 scoring targets. And I might chat as I go along, yeah? Okay? So the position that the Chiappa likes to be shot is completely different to my hand shots, so I do have to fiddle around a bit. I'm shooting on the back bag using that homemade bag rider that I showed you in the last video. Just getting it. Just put one of my eye drops in. Anybody who knows me knows I've got severe dry eye problems, but hey ho, that's just life, isn't it? Alright. Right. Onto the scoring targets now, and let's see if I can get a 250. I must admit, I've never done a live one, full live one like this before. So that first one was a 10. That was a 10. I must admit, I feel like I'm being spied on here. That might be an X. One thing I've noticed about this Chiappa is it's very hold specific. You do need to replicate the strength of hold that you're using on each shot. It loves to be held very lightly. Another 10, but not solid 10. I'm all over the place today. That's a 10, but there's nothing sexy about it. That's an X. That's an X. That's an X. Guess what? That's an X. Good solid 10. But, you know, getting these few X's in a row shows what this rifle is capable of if it didn't have a numpty handle in it. Good solid 10. Whatever the score is with this target, I'm going to post it because I like to show honest shooting. Whoa! That is barely a 10. Right. Let me have a look here. I must admit, I'm not feeling as relaxed as I normally do. X. It's quite difficult getting in the zone when you've got two cameras on you and a light in your eyes. If I don't have that light on, it's really dark and you can't see me. That's a good solid 10. Like I say, this isn't a real measure of what you would get in competition because the conditions are so favourable in your garden. I can tell what the wind's doing outside by how the shed creaks. So, you know, it becomes almost automatic shooting in your own garden. That's a 10. Possibly an X. The differences between a lot of these 10s and X's are probably less than a millimetre. I'm having to remember to relax my grip hand here because the gun doesn't respond well to being manhandled. I've just loaded one in backwards there, so I've just shot that off into the side. That is a problem with these tray-fed guns. With the hand shut, you put it directly in the end of the barrel, and you can see how it's gone in. At bordering on an X, it's going to be tight. That's an X. That's a 10. Not the best 10 in the world, but a 10's a 10. I'll tell you what is really off-putting. Now I'm on the bottom row. I can see the top of the mobile phone in the scope, and one slip and it's going to have a V out of it. That's an X. So what I will say is, you have a thing called penduluming, especially with guns like this where you've got quite a thin noodle-like barrel. The HFT 500 is pretty similar, and I put an awful lot of weight on the end of this gun now with the silencer and the tuner. It's upwards of about 250 grams, and when you move the gun, the momentum of all that at the end of the barrel is still moving, even when you just move the gun a little bit. And now it might not make a difference for hunting and hitting spinners, but when you're shooting at 2mm bulls, it can make all the difference. So you have to make sure the rifle settles after your last movement before you take the shot. It's only a half a second or so. A good solid 10 for my penultimate shot there. Come on, guys. Cross your fingers for me. Let's see if I can do a 250. That could be an X. Well, thank you for spending a little extra time with me while I shot this target. I'll go and get the target, I'll score it, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright. Well, guys, I've gone and got the target. I've probed the holes, as they say. It's come out as a 250 and 12x. I don't think that's bad, being under the scrutiny of two cameras and trying to prove that I can shoot, in a live situation. I think there's a lot of shooters post stuff up, but I think, my friend Paul Metcalf, he appreciates how hard it is to do on camera as well, because he's brave enough to do it many times. What I will say is 12 isn't the highest, but it genuinely was as good as I could do at the time, and I've enjoyed the challenge. I may even practice that way because it adds a little bit of tension, like an event. But just to remind people, these are under very favourable circumstances, and nowhere would I expect to shoot a 250 12x all the time in a competition. I think if I shot one, I'd have a party. But anyway, there you go, guys. 250 12x. I hope you enjoyed that, and it shows how good this Chiappa FAS-611 can actually be. You've seen it live. Take care then.